Hello, entrepreneurs. This is Joe DiChiara, CPA, coming to you live from downtown Flushing, New York, with another amazing special edition of Joe DiChiara Presents. That's right, special edition, folks, because I have breaking news. It's come down the pike that the IRS, yes, the IRS, is turning the screw even tighter on sole proprietors. I've been talking about this for a long time, folks, but now there's documentation. There's physical proof of what their scheme is. And that is to really hone in and identify who are the independent contractors out there? Who are the people that aren't following their orders? Because that's really what they want. And when I say they, I shouldn't just pinpoint the IRS. The truth is, the IRS just administers these rules and regulations. They create the forms. They got to take the flack. So, I feel for people that work at the IRS. My aunt worked at the IRS for like over 25 years. And that's a whole nother story. But, I don't know. She probably has some really, she told me some stuff, and I don't want to get her in trouble. I don't know if there's some confidentiality thing. But maybe this just stupidity of I can't say stupidity, ignorance. That's a better word of people getting themselves into trouble simply because they get caught up in the machine. And the machine, let me define what the machine is. And let me, I should get in the habit of, if you're watching live, please give me a hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. I'm not really great on the interaction, but if you post something, I'll come back to it later. If you have a question or a comment on anything that I'm talking about. If you don't know me, like I said, I am a CPA, and I specialize in working with brand new businesses, the tiniest of tiny businesses that really are getting the brunt of the machine. And the machine is like a freaking paper shredder. When you put it in there, it's like you can really get messed up. And so now what the IRS is coming out with is a new form. Just what we need, another new form. And it's called the 1099 NEC. Okay. What is that again? Hold on a second. Yeah, 1099 NEC. And so the NEC is non-employee compensation. So again, reading between the lines, folks, reading between the lines, this is just another like nail in the coffin for people, for employers, and for individuals that are trying to subvert paying payroll taxes, primarily Social Security taxes. So if you think about the logic behind this, Social Security is already projected to be bankrupt. I don't know when, but we live longer. It's just it's a balloon that is going to burst. So where are they going to get the money from? They want people to be employees. Or if they're not employees, they want them to report their income on a Schedule C, which is a sole proprietor form. And if you've been watching me, and I lost track of my StreamYard here, but okay, there I am. If you've been watching me and listening to me, I'd say at least 80% of what I talk about is the fact that sole proprietors are in danger. Okay, and they're in danger because one of the reasons is because the IRS is targeting them. Now, a sole proprietor, you see, here's the thing. They play games with semantics, because the bottom line is a sole proprietor is a sole proprietor is a sole proprietor. I don't care what you call it. You could call it an independent contractor, freelancer, or what they want to call it now is non-employee compensation. It still goes on a Schedule C. And that's where they want it to go. And then they want to look at it and they're going to scrutinize it, because most sole proprietors do not have the ability, the knowledge, the information that they need to put together books and records. And the IRS knows this. It's a numbers game. So that's the bad news. The good news is that there is a solution. Don't do business as a sole proprietor. And if you think being an LLC is going to solve that, it doesn't. What an LLC does is it just gives you legal protection. They're not protecting you from the IRS. A corporation is what you want. Okay. And again, like I said, I'm sorry, I don't even know who's asking me this question. It is effective, I believe, for 2021. That's what I'm hearing. No, actually for 2020. So starting in 2020, you might people are going to start asking you for this information, or you might get it. Now, they were on a 1099 MIS miscellaneous. So in the past, somebody in this situation, an independent contractor, would get a 1099 miscellaneous. Now they want to, and that form had a bunch of other types of payments. What the IRS is doing is they're making it easier on their system. This has to do with computer programming and just the fact that it's just, for me, it's so obvious what is happening. And they just want to keep focusing on sole proprietors, and they're going to keep putting in the compliance and a new form, another one. Because if the form isn't done, they can always give you or the person that's supposed to ask you for the information a penalty. So it's like they're just putting their claws in a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. And guess what? It's not just it's not just Social Security, but a lot of this, anything that you see that comes up that has to do with the employee or independent contractor issue really is coming down to the battle for Social Security, and also at the state level, the unemployment insurance, because that's what the government does not get. Employers pay payroll taxes on employees. Nobody pays payroll taxes on independent contractors unless the independent contractor is filing their return correctly. And in the past, based on history, independent contractors don't file their returns properly. So if you're following the sequence here, there is a method to their madness. And I see it from an administrative standpoint. I see them tightening the bolts. And the solution, folks, and I keep saying this, is to do, if you're going to be in business, you do not want to be an independent contractor. You want to be either an S-corp or a C-corp. Okay, you do not want to be considered an independent contractor. So I do have a question. Two people, okay, the question is, assume the payer is responsible for completing the form. Okay, just figured out that I can do this. There's two people that are responsible. If you hire somebody, if you are a business and you hire an independent contractor, you have to get a Form W-9 from them. So that you have to ask them for it. And if they don't give it to you, you're not supposed to pay them, because it's the record keeping is on you. Now, once you have that information, you're required to file at the end of the year a Form 1099. Now it's going to be NEC for all of those independent contractors. So if you ask for it and they don't give it to you, you're really on the hook. When they do give it to you, if you don't file the 1099 NEC, you're on the hook. And you have to also mail that to the person that you've paid. So, the administrative burden is always on the payer. Okay, so the person getting paid, if they don't want to get a 1099, they won't give you a W-9 form. And according to the rules, then you are on the hook. And that's how they want it. They want somebody to be on the hook. But most people don't know still that corporations don't get 1099s. If you hire a corporation, they don't have to give you a W-9 form. And even if they do, it's the IRS doesn't care. It's a whole different category. So it's really like discrimination. It's like you have the smallest of small businesses having to comply and prepare paperwork where, let's face it, the corporations already have this stuff in place. And that's where the gap is. That's where the divide is. And that's what I have been trying to talk about here. So the other question here is, let's see, is it? Yes. Okay. Good question. So yeah, the magic number is 600. So it's always been 600 for some reason. But here's the thing. It's 600 per year. So if you have if you have an independent contractor that makes $50 a month over 12 months, that'll be 600. You would have to give them a 1099. That's what the rule is. So if you only give them, let's say they quit before in November, you've only paid them 500 or 550. You're not required to give them a 1099. But how do you know that when it's going to go over 600? And that's part of the problem. When you hire somebody, the procedure has to be now, or you have to ask them. And that's what's on the tax returns now. They're going to ask you, have you made any payments to anyone that was supposed to get a 1099? And if you answer no, but you were, and you just committed perjury, because that's what you're doing when you sign your tax return and you knowingly lied. Okay, that's like the catch-all. That's how like almost anybody could probably be convicted of tax fraud or tax evasion. A lot of business, if they want to, split hairs and look at all the rules and regulations. So what I have suggested to people is this: when you hire somebody, you got to ask them right up front to give you a W-9 form. That's the policy. Whether they're a corporation or not doesn't matter, because you're required to ask. And if they don't give it to you, well, then you got to have a policy of, well, then we can't pay you. And that's not really reality, but that's just an option. Anyway, I've gone on longer than normal. If you have any more questions, please put them in the chat box. I will get back to you. This is a big topic. It's not going away. It's just going to take a lot of twists and turns. It is about Social Security tax and how it's affecting sole proprietors, because that's really what we're talking about here. If you want to boil down the whole issue, it's the fact that sole proprietors get unfairly taxed and are unfairly targeted because of Social Security. And the solution is to be doing business as a corporation. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it. God bless. Over and out. If you want to connect with me, there is a way. You can just go to timewithjoe.com, and I'd be glad to talk to you about this issue and any others that have to do with your business. Thank you and good night.